Alright, welcome to Work World Writing, writing that works in all kinds of worlds, or writing that works in all kinds of works. Welcome to Work World Writing, writing that works in the work world. Wow, better move on. Alright, have you ever seen this? You know, I grew up with these kinds of worksheets when I was in school. Circle the right answer, or how about these things deserve fireworks? How about this one? Where someone's put in a lot of effort. We got pictures and has built this creative sheet. How about this one? I've actually used one like this, where you've got the sentence that has errors in it and you're learning about commas, and here's a couple rules, and put the comma in the right spot and maybe explain what the rule is. But it's interesting, even in college, our college textbook, communications textbook, has a very large section about grammar rules, and gives examples. They even have practice questions for the students and even test banks, and it's really worksheet style sentences or paragraphs that are messed up, and you got to fix them up in the right way. Oftentimes when we do that, when we follow these textbook examples like this, we end up creating a calendar as teachers. And so we're going to cover this topic on this day and maybe have a quiz on it. And it doesn't matter if the student's ready for that topic or not, or maybe they even know about that topic already. We're gonna get this covered at this time. And it seems like maybe there should be a different approach to teaching writing, just because we're using the same method year after year and it doesn't seem to be working. Hey, where did you go? Whoa, take it easy. All right, moving on. I think sometimes writing instructors think that writing is like building a stopwatch, and so we've got these little components that work together, and I'm going to teach this component and that's going to build on this one, and it's almost like this linear or logical path. But when I think of teaching writing, I see it more as learning to ride a bike, or teaching somebody to ride a bike. And so this person, this mentor, is probably doesn't have a calendar in mind. Like on day one, I'm going to teach about balance, and then the next day I'm going to teach about looking at the horizon. It doesn't make sense. What we do is we get the person riding the bicycle, and then we look and see what they need to learn right now, what they're having trouble with right now, and give them that kind of advice that they need instantly to make them the best bike rider as quickly as possible, so that they don't get hurt. And so I sort of take the same approach with writing. When I learned to teach writing in this different way, I remember posing this question, or like it was the very first assignment I gave to my students: write me one page about what you did over the summer. And I listened to their reactions, and a little bit of moaning and eye rolling, and I started to ask them, what's wrong? Why don't you want to do this? And they would say it's boring, or some of them said we've done this before, in previous years. And so I changed it and taught them how to think of good topics to write about, things that matter to them. And this one guy, he wrote about this curling story. He was in grade 8, and he told me this. He wrote down this story. It was only about 2 pages. How his dad took him to the curling rink, and as a boy, he sat on the rock, and the dad sent the rock down the ice, spinning. And he remembers as a boy spinning in circles as he sort of, calmly soared down this curling ice. And it was just this really fantastic story. And when he was done the story, a few things sort of came to my mind about teaching writing. Number one, I gave him the choice to write this story, and when I did that, and when he handed in this story, I knew that it was his best writing that he could do. Right? Had I just collected in his story about what he did last summer, his heart probably wasn't in it, and I couldn't be sure that it was his best. But he chose this story, and what it meant to me was that's his best writing. He also cared about the grammar more this time, because it was a real story. It was no longer an assignment for a teacher. He wasn't just handing in something to me. It was his grammar for his story. He knew that he was going to publish this story. He was either going to give it to his dad, or he was going to put it in the class blog, or even find a website dedicated to publishing young writers, and he would put it on that website. And so these 3 things became pretty clear to me as he worked with this story and I worked with him. But I guess suddenly grammar rules and worksheets and my little curriculum calendar stopped mattering. And what did matter was making this guy a good writer. So that's the kind of approach I take to teaching writing nowadays, even in college. Thanks for listening.